Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. I apologize for the delay. I had trouble getting on this morning, so I'm happy to be here. I'm sorry for the delay. Welcome to the Community Updates call. We will convene this call at 8:02 a.m. on April 2nd, 2024. And let's jump right in with Adventist Health Tillamook. Good morning, Eric.
Hey, good morning, Commissioner. We have 14 patients in the hospital today. Our ambulance crews did 5 911 transports yesterday. No transfers, no transports home. We have 117 patients boarding in emergency departments across Oregon today. That's 32 more than yesterday. 347 discharge delays, which is 3 less than yesterday. And that's all I've got for you, unless you've got questions today.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Eric? If not, we'll say thank you and move right into the Coastal Caucus. Do we have Senator Weber this morning?
Good morning. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, we can.
What a beautiful day it's going to be.
Truly.
I hope everyone had a really blessed and happy Easter. I was really lucky to be able to spend it with some of my kids, and what a beautiful day. The time when we're not in session seems to be just as busy as when we are in session. And so I've had a really busy week. I've met with a lot of different groups on literacy and hunger task force. We're working on a food bank for North Plains. They don't have one. I have heard from people advocating for keeping kids in school because we have a huge problem within the state on chronic absenteeism. And I was just listening to a podcast this morning from that a newspaper has put out that unfortunately we have a majority of parents right now feeling that school is optional. And so it's really cramping our educational style, and we're working to see what we can do about it. I've also been meeting with superintendents on summer learning because there's a lot of misunderstanding around that whole program. There was $30 million that was gifted to the program for summer learning for the rest of the biennium, which would be this summer. But we've got 291 schools that are vying for this money. And so it's yesterday, the applications were supposed to come out, and I haven't been able this morning yet to check with my superintendents to see if they have gotten them. But it's really important that we continue our learning programs through the summer. And so any help that we can get through the state is going to mean a lot, especially to our kids for the summer. I'm sure you've also heard that the governor has signed both 4002, which is the recriminalization of our drugs. She signed that yesterday, and she also signed the bill regarding recreational immunity. Now, both of these bills are very important to our state, and the recreational immunity one is especially important to this area. But we need to be looking for tweaks, things that we can do to change it that can make it better for our area. So I would hope that our parks and recreation people would keep me in mind as to what we could do to change some of this. I know that we have got to address some of the issues that are happening in smaller areas, not necessarily urban areas, and we have got to figure out how to do that. And I really would like your attention to that so that we can make the best decisions for legislation going forward that can make it far more usable for the people here. yesterday I got to visit Bay City Hall. I had to go up and sign a letter for of support for a possible grant. And I have to tell you, you've got to go and look at the painting on the outside of City Hall's building. The place is just so welcoming, and of course the people always are when you visit. But the changes, especially the artistic changes, are wonderful to look at. It's so welcoming and happy. And on another note, Manzanita City Hall is going to be breaking ground this next Saturday, I believe. And so that's an exciting thing for Manzanita and for our North Coast people. Last night, I also got the opportunity to go to Tillamook City Hall to attend a city council meeting because for years, probably starting back in 2012, we started working on flood mitigation around Holden Creek. And as time has gone by, we haven't, as a city or as a group, actually addressed, continued to address the situation around Holden Creek and flooding especially. And it's time that we got back on track and started looking at what we can do, whether it's replacing culverts, replacing tide gates, looking at further upstream as to what is causing the increase in water coming down. And Holden Creek is going to be coming through another area that is going to be a prime building spot that for us to be able to provide more housing for the community. And so those mitigation things need to be addressed. And so the City Council and the Tillamook Bay Habitat and Estuary group are working together to see how we can pick up the pieces and go forward again to address the flooding, especially on Holden Creek, and the impact on the farm at the end of Miller Avenue and on the child care center. So all of those things it's kind of like a domino effect. You start at the tide gate and then you work backwards, or you start up in the hills and you work down. But we've got to be able to address some of these issues that we haven't, or that we have maybe lost track of in the interim. So that's what I've been doing. I'll continue through the week. I have several more meetings, and I'm going to be working with Representative Javity also on a couple of town halls. And so we'll have more information on that. So thank you for the opportunity once again to address you, have this chat. Do you have any questions?
Well, thank you, Senator. Go ahead.
You know what? There's one other thing I forgot.
Please.
I don't know if you've noticed, but we've had a lot of earthquakes on the South Coast throughout the week.
I have not. Tell us more.
Yes, once again, we're going to have to really, heavily consider, are these, yes, these small earthquakes are releasing pressure, but what is happening, under the sea floor that is causing all of this? And is it going to move up the coast? Are we ready for what could happen? So we need to be continually keeping this on the front of our mind and addressing it in our own lives. So
thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. When the folks who are listening by now have probably all heard of the Cascadia subduction zone, but I recall when I'm a native Oregonian, when I was growing up in Oregon public schools, we were taught that there were no fault lines in Oregon like there are land fault lines in California, because they didn't know about the Cascadia subduction zone 80 miles off the coast. And so, it's relatively new science, but they know now that the Cascadia subduction zone, about 80 miles off the coast, goes from Northern California to southern British Columbia. And it is a fault line in the ocean. And I've read a lot about it, and there are sections of it. And apparently when it breaks, the whole thing, like if you think of it like a zipper, the whole thing from south to north could break, or sections of it could break. And so it is fascinating. It could happen any time. Now that science is caught up so rapidly that they know approximately when the last earthquakes and tsunamis happened for the last 10,000 years. So they know that they happen cyclically, and between 300 to 500 years, sometimes a span as long as 1,500 years. So we don't know, but we're in the zone because it's been 324 years since it happened last. They know for sure that the last time it happened here was 1700. So you're absolutely right. There isn't, we're all so busy, and most people are working so hard that there's barely time to think about stuff like that. But the truth is that there's hardly any more important work we could be doing than preparing ourselves and our families and our communities for a major disaster. Because if it happens, that's all that will matter, is how we're able to take care of ourselves and each other. So thank you very much for bringing that up. I also wanted to comment about what you were talking about school absenteeism, because I read an article about that recently, and it was impactful to me. It was moving to me to think about, like, the average rates of absenteeism have jumped, in some cases doubled, and this is across the country. If a school previously had 10% chronic absenteeism, in some schools now it's 20%, and in some schools even 30% chronic absenteeism. And I was thinking about how devastating that is to kids and education, because of course many of the things that they're learning they build upon each other. Knowledge builds upon each other. So if a kid misses just a couple days, they miss some crucial step in learning math. If they don't have that step, it's hard to go on. They could become completely lost. It could be hard to go on for years if they miss some essential building block of knowledge. And the same could be said for reading, that once a kid gets behind, it's so hard to catch up. And so now all over the country, people are dealing with this. Schools are trying to figure out how to address this. Can we get kids back into the classroom on a regular basis? Or if not, then what could we be doing so that this whole group of COVID impacted kids don't have considerably less successful education than kids who went to school through COVID. So, they're talking about how COVID, that break, it changed people's commitments to thinking their kids need to be in school every single day, and it changed the kids' commitments. And it was interesting to read about how kids they're social animals, which we know, of course, but I hadn't thought about this. Like, when a kid's friends are absent, then they're more likely to be absent because kids want to go and be at school with their friends. So it's a very serious problem, and I'm grateful that you're working on it.
In looking at the data, when you say in the 20%, in the majority of school districts, it's over 30% of absenteeism. So, and as our child misses more and more days, it's harder to get caught up, and then it's harder to go back. And after 10 days of absences, they are dropped from the roll. Well, that impacts the amount of money that the school district is going to be able to get for funding. So it's another one of those domino effects, that if the kids aren't there, it's more than the child that is hurting. It's the whole school district, and then it is the whole community that is missing because of a lack of education and a lack of skills to be able to take into the workplace. So it's something that we're working really hard on. And right now I'm working on the majority of what was being focused on was highly urban areas. And I have insisted that we have our rural areas, especially on the coast, represented on this task force, because this is more than just what's happening in Portland, Eugene, and Salem. This is what's happening right here on the Oregon coast too. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Do we have any questions for Senator Weber? If not, we can move on to Representative Javity. Are you with us?
I'm here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Always good to hear Senator Weber's voice, and great to be here. Hope everyone had a good Easter. I did, and I tried to stay away from the candy so that I did not set a bad example for all my patients, but I was not perfect at it. I did enjoy some Reese's peanut butter eggs. Those things were pretty good. All right. Let's see. What do I got this week? Update on the HCP, the Habitat Conservation Plan. There is not a lot of new news. I know the governor's mentioned she's willing to have a discussion with stakeholders about how to replace that missing funding for the counties. Still no chatter from our state leaders about what we're going to do to mitigate the impact on our private stakeholders like our loggers and our mills and all the businesses that support them, including repair shops, et cetera. So I have not let that fall off my radar. That's still one of my top issues, and hopefully I'll have an update going forward as we get some clarity there. I met on Friday with some farmers and other members of the Kilchis Water District, and just in brief, as some may be aware, the Kilchis River has more prone to flooding than it has been in years past due to a variety of reasons. And the top two reasons are, we've accumulation of gravel bars in the river that used to be removed by a local company as part of, Coastwide Construction's process of getting gravel for their operations, and accumulation of logs down at the bay, at the end of that river as it gets close to the bay. And what that's caused is the banks to erode, and now Kilchis Water District is about to lose their pump house as well as for their wells, and they're trying to figure out how to tie in with Bay City, et cetera. So I've made some phone calls this week, trying to see if we can get some more attention from the state on this to see what can be done just to remove those logs would be our first kind of tackle. A lot of the farmers who live along that river are worried about the rising water. I guess the flood in December really sent some water through their private property, including their barns and almost into their homes. And so that wasn't one of our biggest floods, and they're very concerned about what happens if we get a large flood, especially like the flood in '96 that everyone fondly remembers. And so I'll be following up on that more this week. Appreciate the farmers who took their time to come out and other members of the community to talk to me and educate me on what's going on there. Let's see. Senator Weber mentioned the Manzanita City Hall ribbon cutting this week. Looking forward to that. I'm also said to Senator Weber, we signed a letter this week that will be going to Governor Kotek. This topic of this letter is offshore wind energy, and that is something that the federal government is pursuing. It's their waters once they get a certain number of miles off the shore, and they are interested in selling leases to companies to put wind energy out there. We've asked the governor to try to delay that until the state finishes their overall plan for what that looks like. We call that Oregon's roadmap. And we believe the governor has some ability to act here to ask BOEM to delay. And so we're hoping that'll be the case. This is an important issue to a lot of our members of the community, including fishermen and seafood processors. So more to come on that. There's a lot of chatter about it. This is a really important issue for our district, and so I'll keep you updated on that. And then some of you who were watching the news probably saw yesterday that Governor Kotek signed into law House Bill 4002, which was the bill that was passed this year by the legislature to recriminalize drugs. So that is signed and will go into effect by this summer, early fall. And my inbox this morning was flooded with hundreds of emails from constituents saying thank you. So clearly something that these people in our district felt strongly about needed to be fixed, and glad that we were able to get that process started. I don't think the work is done. Like we talked about last week, there's still lots of ways we need to work to limit the effect that hard drugs like fentanyl and others are having on our communities. And I think that's it. I'm going to be at a town hall this weekend with Senator Merkley. Make sure to bring up a few of these local issues. And then today I'll be down in Pacific City at a candidate forum talking about issues. So anybody in that area or anyone who wants to take the trip down there, just wants to hear more about some of the issues that are facing the candidates, but also facing the district, you're invited to attend that. And that, my good friends, is all I have for today. Excuse me.
Thank you, Representative. Do we have any questions, comments for Representative Javidi? Well, I really appreciate your report and all your hard work. And I hope folks get out to Pacific City today at noon. I imagine Doug Olson will talk about that, or he's welcome to jump on right now and tell us more about it. Oh, we'll come back to Doug, but I think it's at the Quanda Community Center today in Pacific City at noon. Candidates forum for multiple races, and so I think that'll be really informative.
Yeah, good opportunity to engage with people who are elected and who want to be elected. So I agree. All right. Well, thank you. If no questions, I'm going to head off and get some dentistry done before I've got to skedaddle. So
okay, terrific
for making this possible. Yep.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, we will move on then to Tillamook County Community Health Centers.
Commissioner Bell, Ed was not available this morning, and Marlene was going to try to jump on, but in her absence, there are talking points that I can share, or they're in your email if you'd like to share them.
Oh, please do.
Okay, wonderful. Well, the Community Health Center today would like to share that April 1st through 7th is National Public Health Week. Public health is present in many areas of health, wellness, and the environment. Public health enables communities to thrive by promoting better health throughout the lifespan and ensures access to quality health care. Our public health services include public health grants and programming, WIC, home visiting registered nurses, community health workers, health inspectors, and environmental health staff and public health leadership. They'd also like to share that April is Alcohol Awareness Month, a time to raise awareness of alcohol use and misuse. Alcohol is the most prevalent substance involved in substance-related emergency department visits. Find helpful resources on alcohol use and misuse prevention, treatment, recovery, and support services on the Facebook page. And if you're interested in talking with a healthcare provider, our integrated behavioral health team works with adults, adolescents, and children on a wide range of concerns, including substance use. Call 503-842-3900 to schedule or visit our website to learn more. There is an upcoming event that they would like you all to be aware of. Stop by on April 19th at 3 p.m. to join us in celebrating the grand opening of our Public Health Services building and meet our public health staff. You can learn more on the website at tillamookchc.org. That's the report from today.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
Okay, then we'll go on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail Nelson, are you with us this morning?
And Gail was also unable to join us this morning.
Gotcha, thank you. How about Tillamook Family Counseling Service? Frank, are you with us this morning? Well, moving on, how about the sheriff? Sheriff Brown?
I'm just, I have a little difficulty with getting myself unmuted, but This is Frank Hannon Williams, Director.
Good morning.
Family Counseling Center. Good morning. Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. And if you are interested in having some information about the agency, appointments, any other information about any of our services, you can reach us at 503-842-8201. That's 503-842-8201. And I'll take any questions if anyone has any this morning.
Thank you, Frank. Well, Commissioner Scar just shared the message from Tillamook County Community Health Centers that included the note that April is Alcohol Awareness Month. So I wonder if you could just share briefly services, chemical dependence services that are offered through Tillamook Family Counseling Center.
Well, I would acknowledge our partner at Tillamook Community Health Centers in acknowledging that for this week, there are a number of services that we provide to individuals in the community when substance use is with alcohol is a concern. We will provide some support around individual assessments. We provide services to individuals and family members. Provide services in a number of ways around addressing what would be a good assessment, individual and group counseling. Our experience is that group support can be a very powerful intervention in relation to alcohol use. We would have counseling staff, assessments that are specifically related to alcohol concerns, and also we also have a staff of very dedicated individuals who are our peer support specialists. We have a number of peer support specialists who bring what I call lived experience, having had some significant success with their own recovery. Peer support is a very powerful intervention and provides a lot of support for individuals, giving individuals some hope and sharing a sense that it is possible to recover and live a life of recovery in the community. So I want to highlight assessment, group and individual treatment, and the support of the peer staff that we have here at the agency. We also have a couple of other very specialized groups. There is a program here that it is referred to as Seeking Safety. It is a group intervention that focuses on issues related to substance use, but also when there may be trauma. And so some of those things work together, sometimes in ways that are not very healthy. Again, we find that group support can be very powerful, leaving people with a sense that they are not alone in their recovery. And those are some of the things that I would share as a follow-up to the acknowledgement that this is Alcohol Awareness Week.
Thank you very much, Frank. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Do we have any questions for Frank? If not, we'll say thank you and move along to the Sheriff's Office. I'm not sure Sheriff Brown is on with us this morning. I haven't seen him yet. Maybe Under Sheriff Kelly?
Morning, ma'am. Just a quick thing. We are doing a hiring event on Friday. Anybody's interested in becoming a criminal deputy or corrections deputy, we'll be doing testing that involves the post-test and a physical fitness test. We'll be starting at 8:45. That's all I have, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Under Sheriff Kelly. And where will that be?
thanks for catching that. I realized as soon as I stopped, but it will be at the fairgrounds at 8:45.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, I heard the sheriff talk about this previously, that that this is a testing event, that the written test, the results are good forever, and the physical test, the results are good for a year. So if you're interested in being a deputy, you can get these tests out of the way, even if you're not ready to apply right now. And the tests can be on file, and one's good for a year and the other one is good forever. So if anybody is even thinking they might want to explore law enforcement, it'd be a great idea to go take those tests. So thank you. Let's move on to emergency management. Do we have Randy Thorpe this morning?
Yes, we do. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
As far as emergency preparedness goes, April is the financial capability month. Looks like we got a month about for everything here. So anyway, Americans at all income levels usually experience challenges of rebuilding their lives after a disaster or after an emergency. So in these stressful times, having access to your personal financial, insurance, medical, and other records is very crucial to have. So please gather all that financial and other critical personal medical information and keep it in a good, safe spot that you have access to. The other thing that's a good idea, I think I mentioned it before, and Commissioner Olson said, don't put $10. You need to put more than that in your mattress for the emergency times, because during some types of disasters and emergencies, the ATMs won't be working and credit card machines may not be working. So having a small amount of cash safely housed in your house is a good idea to have, just so you're prepared for different things that could happen. Also, it's a good time now to, if you're not insured, that you check out and look at homeowners or renters insurance, health and life insurance if you don't have them, and all the policies aren't the same. So just definitely do some shopping around and looking out there to find what is going to be the best coverage for you. And just remember that a lot of insurance policies do not cover flooding. And since that's kind of something that happens here in Tillamook County, that would be something that you may want to look at to make sure that if you are in an area that could flood, that you check your insurance policy to see what type of coverage you have. And if not, then there's always the National Flood Insurance Program through the federal government. So just remember that preparing financially is one of the many ways we can prepare for disasters or other emergencies. And enjoy the good weather today. It looks like we're going to go back to Tillamook rain here for the rest of the week. So if you're out and about, just drive safely and be careful, and be respectful of those others on the road. And that's all I have for today, Commissioner.
Thank you, Randy. Do we have any questions for Randy? If not, let's move on to the Oregon Department of Transportation. I think we have Bill Jablonski with us this morning from ODOT.
You sure do, Commissioner Bell. Thank you very much. Good morning.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Well, just a few things to say about the Oregon Department of Transportation. Again, Bill Jablonski, I'm the area manager here, located in Astoria. Never a dull moment here at ODOT. It seems like we're April now. We can probably put away the snow plows and bring out the mowers. So according to our district manager, Mark Buffington, that is on the plan. The agenda here coming up this near short term is a lot of, as weather permits, there's going to be a lot of mowing and brush cutting and, of course, fixing all those potholes that we all know and love that kind of opened up over the winter months. So it looks like we have some better weather coming for us to be able to do our regular maintenance along the highways here in Tillamook County. We also had an incident at the rock wall at Neahkahnie Mountain this last week. And so we're getting a masonry company up there to do the repairs of that gap there that's up there on Neahkahnie Mountain there at one of the pull-off areas. Just some updates again on Oregon 6. All the projects that we have identified in our statewide system transportation plan are ongoing. I know the high priority for me and many of the folks here in Tillamook is that improvement at Oregon 6 at Wilson River Loop Road. That one is progressing along. We're doing our due diligence as far as impacts to any kind of existing water quality features and items there we have to take into account for. That was moving forward. We do have a bridge coating project at Oregon 6, Devil's Lake Fork on the Wilson River at mile point 32, which goes to bid this fall. And it's a painting job, basically a preservation for that bridge structure itself. They'll be starting construction here this late fall. The other projects are moving along for some starting construction in 25. The Wilson River Loop Road project looks like it's going to be under construction in 2026. Sooner if we can get there, but I don't want to give too much expectation for people. At least I'll say 26 for sure would be this construction season for that. Also, we have bidding this month is US 101 Garibaldi project. That's the highway rebuild and sidewalks from 1st to 12th in Garibaldi. Pretty excited about that one for that community. That's a $10 million project for that community itself. Again, pet improvements with new sidewalks and updated crossing areas, as well as intersection improvements at 3rd and 7th Streets to help with the vehicle turning and operations for folks on the highway, left turn pockets and such, where people can operate and move more freely through the community. So we're excited about that project. One of the things I'm really looking forward to this week is I've been invited to participate in the community destination management planning with the community of Netarts. I'm looking forward to being an ODOT participant for that event as well, and see what input that ODOT can have as far as what the needs are for the Oceanside Netarts area. Looking forward to that very well. Also this month, the Northwest Area Commission of Transportation meets on the 11th of April. That's from 1 to 3 p.m. Columbia County is hosting our meeting this month. However, it is a hybrid meeting, so there is a Zoom link available. I will send the county staff for the notes for this meeting, the agenda and the link to the Zoom meeting for folks who may want to participate or listen in to see transportation discussions that we're having in our area. They might be of some interest for folks out there. That's all the update I have for this month. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Bill. Hey, I'm glad you mentioned the Garibaldi project because local folks, of course, are very excited about that, and it's going to be great. Somebody asked me recently when that might, what the work window will be. Do you know that yet?
Yeah, Commissioner Bell, not exactly yet. I know that we go to bid here in April at the end of the month, and then we wait for the contractor to be officially given notice to proceed, and then they provide us a schedule. I suspect it's not going to be to very late summer into the fall before they would start any kind of concrete work, and then the paving part of it probably won't take place until the spring of 25 and before the summer hits of 25. But it's not my call. It's really the contractor's call, but we do work with them and then the community as well to give folks a heads up on when the work would be starting.
Thank you. Do we
Madam
have
Chair.
any? Yeah, please.
Good morning, Bill. Good to have you with us. Question for you. I don't know if you know, but what the timeline is. I know that the Oregon Transportation Commission has a plan to do a listening tour around the state of Oregon and to come to different communities to take a look at both, I believe, the ODOT facilities that are there, as well as how those interact with county facilities. Are you familiar with that tour, and do you have any updates on when that might be happening?
Hi, Commissioner Scarra. Yes, I've been hearing some things, the listening sessions that are going to be taking place around the state. I know that there aren't any definitive dates yet set for that. We're meeting internally right now with the maintenance districts themselves, and identifying these key areas that we can at least put some boards around and what the discussion might look like. But I don't have enough information yet to share with this group at all. But as things come around, I'll definitely keep the county commissioners informed, and we can spread the word that way.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then I had one other question. When I was serving on Northwest Act, there was a presentation that was provided from an ODOT, I think it was an ODOT geologist, about the slide up on Highway 6 that is driving, the huge amounts of damage that just keep occurring just over the summit. And I was looking for that study to see if it was posted anywhere for on the ODOT website, and I haven't been able to find it. Do you know which study I'm talking about and whether that is available to the public?
I do, Commissioner, and I can get a hold of the geologists in our region, and I can make that available. I can send it to the county. It's kind of a large PDF with a lot of graphics and pictures and such. It's kind of a large document, bite-wise for the computer, but I can certainly send it to the county, and the county can distribute it, but I don't believe it's on our website right now.
Okay. That would be great. I've been unable to find it. And on Facebook, there are just so many questions and comments about why doesn't ODOT just fix this section of the slide? And when I was serving on the Northwest Act and had the chance to hear that presentation, it really clarified for me why we can't just fix that slide, with a slide plane that's 50 feet below the roadway that just keeps moving. And it's,
Right.
We're kind of we're totally at the mercy of Mother Nature there. And when that slide slides and the rain falls and slickens that sort of slide plane, it slides again. And would like to be able to refer people to that when they're saying, why doesn't ODOT just fix this, to be able to say, here's some, deeper information, no pun intended, about why they don't fix this in a more complete way. So it would be great to have that at our fingertips if possible. Thank you.
Oh, you bet. Yeah, I'll make that happen so it's available to more people that can actually find it. And no doubt that'll be one of the subjects or the topics that during our listening session that we'll have an opportunity to talk about when those come up as well too.
Absolutely. I'm certainly hoping that the Transportation Commission is on a bus, and I hope they get to go over Highway 6, because I think that's very telling. In particular, if you're on a bus with lots of the way the springs on that amplify everything and just really show every little bump and every piece of how dangerous that damage is if you're in a truck or any high-profile vehicle as it bounces, as well as a low-profile vehicle as you smash against the bottom of the car on the asphalt. So I hope
Right.
they get to experience that. Thank you.
Right, you bet, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
May
And
I
thanks,
ask
Bill.
a question? It's
Oh,
Suzanne.
please do. Please do, Senator.
What is the status right now, or this is a question I've been getting on cell service on Highway 6?
That is, I don't have an answer for that, Senator, since it's not an ODOT object or ODOT item. I really don't have any information as far as the connectivity and the power. I know that we have a maintenance shed at the summit that could be available for connecting into, but I don't know the status of the internet line that might be going on through a private organization or private company through either the Forest Service, or I haven't heard anything along the state ODOT right of way, any kind of installation on that route too. But I'm sorry, I don't have enough information or have any information about the status of that as far as ODOT's involvement.
Okay, well, I had heard that there were some promising actions that were going to be moving forward, but then all of a sudden I didn't hear anything more, and neither did my constituents, and they're looking forward to that.
Great. Yeah, it's muchly needed for sure.
Thank you.
Senator, I'll chime in quickly from the county's perspective. And on our agenda last week, and again on our agenda this week, are leases with Verizon for towers going over Highway 6. So the work continues in terms of preparing to have cell coverage up there. I know that Commissioner Olson is with us. He may actually have more details related to the fiber itself, but we do know we're all getting stopped going over the hill as they are working on pulling the conduit through which the fiber will travel. And we do know that we're working on leases for cell towers. I see Commissioner Olson has unmuted.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me okay? I don't know if my microphone was working earlier.
Yes, we can. Yep,
Okay,
we can
good.
hear you.
Well, thank you. Yes, I do know a little bit about that. They're going to be eventually over the next, I'm going to say 24 months, somewhere between 5 and 9, maybe as many as 10 cell towers all the way up to the top and then down the east side into Washington County. And as you drive Highway 6, if you'll notice along the edges of the road on both sides, you'll see the colored conduit coming out of the ground about every mile or mile, maybe and a half, 2 miles. That is a stub out so they can connect it and possibly spur off to both local residents as well as a cell tower. So there are issues of power, whether it's operated by battery or solar or commercial power, all of the above. And then there are issues about exactly where it goes. And there are also other issues with respect to the leases with the Oregon Department of Forestry and other landowners. So there's a lot of work to be done, but it's definitely on the books to be full uninterrupted cell service from Tillamook clear into Forest Grove and into the city of Portland. So it's been a long time coming, but things are happening. And if, as Commissioner Scar just mentioned, there are some leases being granted for cell towers. So it's on the horizon. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but 2 years from now, I would say with some certainty, you'll be able to have your cell phone on the whole distance. So that's really a good thing. So thank you for that. And we'll keep talking about that as we make progress.
Thank you, Commissioner. So before we lose Bill Jablonski, I just wanted to say thanks for planning to attend the community planning session for the NETARS community. I think it's terrific, and we appreciate your partnership.
Oh, perfect. Yes, very much. And I'm in Tillamook for my work day, the 4th and 1st Thursdays of the month. And it worked out with my schedule being down there as well, too. So I'm attending in person. So I'm very much looking forward to it. And I really appreciate the invite.
Great, thank you. Any
you.
further questions for Bill? If not, we will jump into the Board of Commissioners reports. Commissioner Scar, would you like to start?
Sure, I would. Thank you very much. And to start, I'm actually going to invite Treasurer Sean Blanchard if she'd like to make a few comments regarding the upcoming budget hearings.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Tillamook County. Yeah, so the Tillamook County budget workshops are April 9th, 10th, and 11th next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Our current requested budget is out on the Treasurer's website if any of the public would like to view it, or we can always provide paper copies if that is your wish. Looking forward to budget season. And if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to my office.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Sean. Okay. I will then jump into a few topics that I wanted to cover. One was the Habitat Conservation Plan conversation that we had with the Department of Forestry last Wednesday. And if anyone's interested, it was done during our regular board meeting, which means that it is recorded and available online for viewing. So if you're interested in what the department had to say, please feel free to take a look at that. It was a good conversation. It was great to have both Mike Wilson, who is from the state level, along with our district foresters, and in fact their financial guy that does the projection for us was with us as well. So it was great to have everybody in the room and to be able to really talk about what should we expect for Tillamook County. I think that what we expect for Tillamook County is, as we expected, a little bit of a drop in timber revenue, probably not as much as other counties, particularly not as much as Clatsop, thankfully. But they gave us an estimated harvest amount that would be around 16.9 million board feet on a regular basis, which they estimated would bring about $18 million into the county as a whole. That money then gets split up among our different special districts and the county itself. So great for us to know that we can kind of look at, hopefully, an even flow flat level that is somewhere between 5 and 10 million board feet less than what we have been used to. We then got our timber projection for the coming year, which shows about 16.7 million coming into the county. So just a little bit below that 18.1, which will mean for the county ourselves, for our budget, somewhere around the 4.5 million that we've seen as about a 10-year average. So it will give us the numbers we need to be able to budget on, and we're hopeful. It feels much more realistic, the numbers we've gotten in the past. So we're pleased to have had the conversation and pleased to feel like perhaps we are just a little bit closer with the Department of Forestry in getting real numbers that we can rely on in our budget. So that was a great conversation. Again, I encourage anyone who is interested to take a listen. It is on our website, or the link is on our website. Another thing that we have done to prepare for budget, I want to talk about real quickly, is that we did a complete facilities assessment. And I mentioned this last week. I had just gotten it into my hot little hands when I mentioned it last week. But this assessment goes through and looks at all of the physical facilities of the county. It then gives them a ranking in terms of, are they in good condition, moderate condition, or poor condition, and then goes even deeper into each facility to look at specific assets, such as what does the HVAC look like in that particular facility, and what is its lifespan, and when would be expected that it would be at the end of life or perhaps ready for failure. It does the same thing with looks at our water, it looks at our lights. It just goes through and says what the building, our roofs, our outside shells of the buildings, and says what's the condition. What should we be focused on as a county to make sure that we take good care of our facilities and that we take care of the investments that the taxpayers have made? So I'm really excited that that is something that we will be bringing into our budget this year in a much more intentional way than we have in the past. In the past, we have sort of left it to department directors to tell us what they think may be needed in their facilities, but without the support of a full facilities assessment, it's really hard to know. And our department directors have a lot of things they're experts in, and facilities condition isn't necessarily one of them. So this was a great opportunity to do that work, to be able to present to everybody, here's what we know. So it will be another thing we are grappling with this year as we look at what is needed. I think they recommended about $1.5 million in repairs in this first year based on things all across the county. The jail as one of the, and Justice Center as one of the big pieces that has repairs needed, along with the courthouse, some of the spaces at Public Works, Parks, Health Department, et cetera. So a lot of things to look at there, but that will be part of our budget conversation, which is great. It's something we need to have on our list. I'm just going to bring up a couple other things that are coming up this month. Let's see if I can find where I put them so that I get all the details right. This is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, as April is every year. We will be doing a proclamation at our Wednesday meeting that proclaims this Sexual Assault Awareness Month, but I wanted to bring up this Tides of Change event because it is today. It is from noon to 2 at the main library meeting room, and it is the Sexual Assault Awareness Month Day of Action, and there will be an opportunity to express what you think and feel of when you talk about Sexual Assault Awareness Month. There's going to be painting of denim pockets, just an opportunity to be together and spend some time and do a little bit of fun art. So I encourage people to be at the library if they're not going to be at the candidate forum, be at the library here from noon to 2 for that event. Also want to let people know that the Housing Commission is this Thursday, and we will be reviewing some of the processes we used to award the multifamily rental housing fund grants this year and seeing if there are some adjustments that the commission wants to make to that process. So I encourage anyone who wants to join us, you can do so physically. We are out at the Port Boardroom. You can also go on to the Community Development webpage where there is a link to that meeting remotely if you'd just like to listen in. With that, I will turn it back to you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Olson.
Well, thank you again, Commissioner. I'll hit a few things this morning. We talked there for a moment earlier about the cell service and what's happening. I'll take that one step further and not get into a lot of detail, but the county is looking at replacing the radio system. The public safety and public service radio system is 20 plus years old, and as you can imagine, it's out of date. There are lots of things that are analog, not digital. And this is a system that basically serves all of the agencies in Tillamook County, including the police and sheriff's office, the fire departments, the ambulance service, public works, Tillamook PUD, the transportation system with the buses, and some of our water and sanitary sewer systems as well. So if you look at your TV in your home, it's probably not the same TV you had 20 years ago, nor is your phone the same. So same thing with radios. And of course, in Tillamook County, while it's the most beautiful spot in Oregon and maybe around the world, It doesn't work so well for direct line of sight VHF radio. We have a lot of mountains and valleys and so on. This is not Iowa. This is the Oregon coast. So a lot more to come on that, but I want to keep that on the radar, literally, because a radio system is a lifeline to our people who are the first responders. So I'll just leave it at that, and there'll be much more coming your way on that one. I'll also just quickly mention the facility study that Commissioner Scar mentioned was prepared and delivered by McKinstry Company, which is a big company. They have lots of civil engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical and structural engineers, and they did a very, very thorough look across Tillamook County. I've seen a number of these over the years, and this is certainly one of the better ones that not only pointed out some of the deficiencies and things that are beginning to wear out, it also prioritized them and put some numbers to them. So there's a lot to work with. And as Commissioner Scar pointed out, this is something that will attack this budget season simply because we're responsible for tens of millions of dollars of physical assets. And I don't think anybody wants to see them crumble and fall to the ground. And we're certainly not going to let that happen. Another thing that your commissioners will be talking about here over the next weeks will be a look at the room tax that's applied to visitors to Tillamook County, whether they stay in hotels and motels or vacation rentals. When they come to town, or to the county rather, they rent a room and they pay a room tax on top of that. That's been in place now since 2014, so it's been 10 years. And I don't think there's been any kind of a comprehensive review. We certainly know what it generates in terms of money, but not the rate itself and how does it compare with others and how is it structured. So we're going to take up that subject over the next weeks as well. So a lot more to come on that one. As was mentioned, Senator Merkley will be in town this weekend. I believe at 10:30 he's at Tillamook Bay Community College with a public meeting. Anybody's welcome. You may or may not agree with Senator Merkley or Senator Wyden, who was here a few weeks ago, but you have to give them high marks for showing up because they do come to our community. They allot some time and you can talk one-on-one with them. You can shake their hand. You can ask questions, some of which they can't answer, but you can't accuse them of sitting in their office in Washington, D.C. and not coming back to see the people who elected them. So good for them. Also mentioned earlier was wind energy, and I'm following that on behalf of the county through the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, as well as some of the things that are happening at the state level. And they're not up in our part of Oregon yet. But they may well be over the next months and years, and certainly there's a long planning horizon. So we are aware of what's happening, and we are aware of some of the lawsuits and some of the groups that have challenged what's happening. But the federal government seems to be moving as quickly as I've ever seen them move, and maybe that's in some respects a good thing. In other ways, not so much, because I think they've skipped over a lot of input from our various organizations, including some of the tribes. And I know the tribes have come together and filed some formal notice of complaints that they've not been included in the conversation. So again, a lot more to come on that one. And then finally, I guess I'll just end by saying, it was made earlier, there is a candidates forum today, and the doors open at 11:30. It's at the Kiowanda Community Center here in Pacific City. There are, I think, at least 12 candidates coming. They've all confirmed attendance. And the positions would be for the county assessor, which is a really important position because that's the group that sets the value on real property. It also collects the taxes for all the public agencies. And we'll also have the county commission, and there are 2 spots open on the current year's election. And then also the state legislature, the representative seat is also open. So all those candidates for the primary election have confirmed attendance today at doors open 11:30, and we'll go about 2 hours. Everybody gets a chance to speak. Everybody gets a chance to ask some questions. And it's one of those things you do during election season is to make sure people understand who's asking for their vote and where they stand on certain issues. So with that, Commissioner, I'll hand it back to you and we'll keep things moving at this end. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. And thanks for arranging the candidates forum this afternoon. I think it's a really important way for people to learn about who's running and what their thoughts are. So I think that's great. A couple of us have talked about Senator Merkley's town hall. As Doug said, that's this Saturday, 10:30, TBCC. I'll be there. I believe Doug will be there, Commissioner Olson, and Commissioner Scar will be at the Manzanita City Hall groundbreaking, which we're sorry to miss, but they're at the same time. So Commissioner Scar will be in Manzanita on Saturday morning, and Doug and I will be at Merkley's Town Hall, and I look forward to that. A couple things I wanted to mention are, I was at the TBCC board meeting last night. I'm the chair of the TBCC Education Board, and we were talking about the healthcare education building, which is very, very exciting. The process is moving along smoothly. And the nursing program, the education program has already started. So we have students in the nursing program who just don't have their own facility to learn in yet. But the groundbreaking for the healthcare education building has been scheduled for June 21st. So that is very exciting to me. And there are just all kinds of good things going on at the college. So I'm happy to be a part of that. Commissioner Scar mentioned that April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and I just wanted to mention Tides of Change for a minute because I'm on that board also, and I met with the director yesterday, Valerie Bundy, and we were talking about all kinds of things that are going on with that organization, and it's, it's the kind of thing that if you don't know about it, you don't know about it. And so I thought, well, this is worth talking about. Tides of Change has been doing remarkable work, especially for a long time, for, I don't know, 30 or 40 years, 40, in fact. Last year might have been the 40th anniversary of the organization. But something I'm super proud of is a couple of years ago, there was no sexual assault nurse examiner in Tillamook County. There had been a couple of people who were doing that work, nurses and nurse practitioners who were doing that work, and they retired and needed to move out of it. And so for a period of time, there was no people who experienced sexual assault and needed an examination had to go out of town, which is terrible. It just adds to the trauma for somebody to have to go to the Valley, for example, to have that done. So there are, and it's a highly specialized field. People need very special training to do it. It's, I'm sure stressful and difficult for the people for the nurses or nurse examiners, as well as for the victims, obviously. So we didn't have that service available in Tillamook County. And Adventist Health, Gina Seifert with Adventist Health, convened a group of community partners where Tides of Change was at the table, the county was there, the DA's office, the sheriff's office, et cetera. Tillamook Family Counseling Service, everybody's at the table to figure out how can we bring that service back to local victims, because it's just, it's terrible enough what they're going through, let alone having to go out of town to get services. So that work started a couple years ago, and it is running full steam ahead. So Adventist Health secured a grant to build a program, a community-based program. There's one other program like it in the state, so it's a pretty unusual model, but it seems really dynamic and effective. And we have Tides of Change agreed to take on the management of the program, and we now have a nurse program manager, and a bunch of nurses are in training. A number of them, when we started talking about it, we were afraid nobody would want to do that work, or we'd be hard put to hire people to do the work. There are a number of nurses involved in the training now, and there's a facility has been secured with Adventist Health for the examinations, and the whole thing is moving forward. And it's a heavy lift, and it's very important. And it's the sort of thing that if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. But these are the services that we want to have available to people who are victims in our community. And so Tides of Change is just doing amazing work, as are all those partners. And again, I think that we've talked about this before, that one of the things that works so well here in Tillamook County is when organizations and agencies come together, because we're all fairly small, but together we are mighty. We can do great work together. So that's happening, and I'm really proud of that. And I wanted to mention what Commissioner Scar was talking about, the Department of Forestry update at our meeting last week. And I do encourage people to check that out. It's on our website, and it was at the end of our meeting, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. It was really, really great information. And I thank Commissioner Scar for organizing it. She invited the Department of Forestry. There were a couple foresters there and administrators in the department. And it was terrific information. And for me, it was sobering, but also encouraging, because as Commissioner Scar said, what they told us is that their projection is that our revenue will be relatively stable at approximately what we determined for ourselves was our average for the county, which is about $4.5 million in revenue per year. And so they said, we looked at the numbers, we think that's a fairly stable, dependable number for you to use to budget. And so, we're just, everybody's, they're in the same position we are, which is how is this going to change things? How do we budget for this? How do we plan for this? What's going to happen? And so the news was encouraging, excuse me. Something that was fascinating to me about it was that that Tillamook forests in particular have diseased trees that are impacted by Swiss needlecast. And that happened because of the way Tillamook forest was reforested after the Tillamook burn. And we also have a lot of alder. And so, that isn't an advantage in most forests to have Swiss needlecast and alder. However, for Tillamook County, it turns out to be an advantage, because Tillamook County will continue to manage those forest products for the next 30 years, and that's written into the Habitat Conservation Plan. So that means that in Tillamook County specifically, we will continue to harvest Swiss needlecast fir, and we will continue to harvest alder, which is a valuable hardwood used for cupboards, etc. And so that stabilizes our revenue stream, and it's only true for us. So I feel bad for our neighbors, because I think Clatsop County has a far more negative impact from the HCP than we do. But it's very interesting to think about what the tides of what has been a disadvantage in our forest will become our advantage economically for the next 30 years. So that's amazing. And we also talked about the bubble that there was a lot of timber sold in the last 3 years that hasn't been harvested yet for a variety of reasons, because they talked about the reasons because of the wildfire, and there was a lot of harvesting going on of fire impacted forest, and because locally there was a period where we didn't have the ability to build logging roads, or not as many, etc. So, but the sales have already been made, so we're also looking forward to a bubble of when those forests are harvested. Then we should have a really good year, or maybe two, when those harvests happen, and that'll be good for our budget, hopefully help build back our prudent reserve. So essentially it was, from my perspective, it was encouraging. We've been talking about the Habitat Conservation Plan for a long time and preparing for the worst possible news, and it wasn't the worst possible news. So thank goodness for that. So I will stop there and move on to the cities. Do we have Mayor Stock from the city of Manzanita?
Good morning, Mary Faith. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. A lot of good and interesting news from everybody this morning. So thank you from somebody who is listening and learning every Tuesday as we go through this. I wanted to just give a couple of updates from Manzanita this morning. We've certainly gotten great coverage so far on our event coming up this Saturday morning at 11, the iDig City Hall groundbreaking event in Manzanita. We're very pleased for all the visitors that we'll be having and looking forward to a really good morning with our community that day. Our Planning Commission meeting has been canceled for this month for anybody who follows that. I'd like to remind people that we do have a Public Works Operations Manager position that is open now, and we are currently accepting applications for that very important job in our Public Works Department. And for, like we've discussed in a couple of other areas, our budgeting process for the next fiscal year is now underway, and this month we'll begin our public meetings on that. And we do have a city council meeting at our regularly planned time this week, Wednesday at 6 p.m. And that's it from Manzanita. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have anyone on from Nehalem or Wheeler? How about Rockaway Beach?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning, we can.
All right, Charles McNeely, Mayor of Rockaway Beach. The city received an application for a 22-unit housing development in the Donata Beach area. After staff review, this application will head to the Planning Commission in May for a decision. Our city planner, Mary Johnson, submitted our prepared presentation to the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department for a grant to install new restrooms at Lake Lytle. Thanks again to the county for leasing the Lake Lytle boat launch to us. We really appreciate that. Our city planner and manager will travel to Salem to pitch the Lake Lytle restroom project with a funding request of around $430,000. So we really appreciate the work that Mary Johnson did, but I also want to do a shout out to Bill Hassel for providing us with drone video footage showcasing the lake in our upcoming presentation. Continuing with City Planner Johnson, she reports that she's already received 13 zoning applications for new dwelling units this year. The total for all last year was 16. I like to think that Mary's skill set, professionalism, and work ethic play a role in making Rockaway Beach a desirable place for developers to do business. Our city safety committee performed their quarterly worksite inspections last week. The safety committee is comprised of a representative from each city department and is led by Public Works Superintendent Emerson. The committee meets monthly and performs accident workplace investigations and other duties as mandated by Oregon OSHA. With over 35,000 hours worked by all employees last year, the city reported no work-related injuries. And then Public Works is preparing to award a South Pacific Street Water and Streets project. Public Works will issue the award after City Council approval in April. This project will replace aging water main on South Pacific Street between 3rd and 4th Avenue and will include an asphalt overlay. Funding for this project was approved in this year's budget and will be the first project completed in our streets capital improvement plan. And then in addition to this update call, which I really value a lot, both from the perspective of getting a chance to share what's going on in my beloved community, but also learn about what's going on around Tillamook County, I'm going to start publishing a monthly City of Rockaway Beach update article in the Tillamook County Pioneer, and I'll post a recording of that update on my Mayor Facebook page. So with that, back to you, Madam Commissioner. Or
Thank
Madam
you,
Chair,
Mayor.
I guess is the right thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, that is a lot of good news, both for the city of Rockaway Beach. You got a lot of great things going on. And also, I love your idea about your monthly update. So I look forward to reading that and hearing it. You're also going to record it. Good idea. Okay, well then let's move on to the city of Garibaldi. Do we have Mayor Finlan? Give her a moment to unmute if she's there. How about the city of Bay City?
Yes, good morning. This is City Manager McCall, standing
Good
in
morning.
for Mayor. I'm standing in for Mayor Welch this morning as she's away. So I'd like to start by thanking the folks that showed up for our first ever Coffee with the Mayor and City Manager event last week. We had, I think it was about a dozen participants come to this first meeting, and it was a really good conversation. And we had some good snacks and coffee as well. And we will be having our next one. So this is going to be scheduled to be a regular event on the fourth Tuesday of each month at 9:30. Next week on Tuesday, we will have our regular city council meeting. The agenda for that will be published by this Thursday afternoon and will be available on our website. And just a reminder, we are still searching for at least one budget committee member. All you need to be is a resident of the city of Bay City who is interested in serving the city in this fashion. We are fortunate that we've been able to hold our budget committee meetings usually to one day, sometimes two, but it's a short way, but a very good way to get to know your community and understand how the city functions and where the money comes from and where it is put towards. So if you're interested in applying for a budget committee position, please reach out to City Hall. You can find the application on our website, and please submit by close of business on Wednesday. That's all I have for you this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. And early in the show, Senator Weber was saying she had just been to a meeting at Bay City Hall and inviting people to come check out the beautiful mural on the side of City Hall, which I completely agree. That mural is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is really great to drive by, Bay City on 101 there and see that mural. It's even better when you come off the highway and come look at it up close, And in the very near future, we'll also have a bench that's placed out there, so make it a little more enjoyable place to come out and hang out for a few minutes.
Oh, nice. That's a great idea. All right. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Do we have Nathan on the line from the city of Tillamook?
Good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay?
Good morning. We can.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you very much. First, I want to give a brief overview of our meeting last night. So we had the regular minutes from the last meeting were approved, and then the council proclaimed Sexual Assault Awareness Month for this month. We had Representative Tides of Change there, which was really wonderful. We also had the Arbor Day proclamation for this month for Arbor Day. Also, we had the introduction and swearing-in ceremony for our new code enforcement officer, Kenneth Moreland. So that was really wonderful. Really glad to have him on board. He's hit the ground running. He's been started here just a few weeks ago. Really glad to have him here on board, and he's going to be working with. Well, I have a little bit more in my report. I'll talk about it. Also, the Tillamook Flood Improvement District came and gave an update on a project that was started as a collaborative project many years ago, back in 2014, with the county and with the state and with the city, and may have been others involved too, to work on some flooding issues that had to do with the south side of the city. So that was a good update. They're really interested in continuing that project. The city will be trying to do what we can do, and we're hoping to be able to reach out to our regional solutions team and also work with the county to take a look at everything and see what maybe we can work on, what we can do. So that was a great presentation. Appreciate them being there, and we also appreciate Senator Weber, who was there to support and talk about a lot about the history of how the project started and so forth. So that was really good. The last side also, the council approved the resolution to reclassify all Tillamook water districts to industrial use. So just a quick update on that again. The water districts that the city services, which are 13 different water districts, some as large as the ports, down to very small districts. All of them have been charged a significant amount of money for many, many years. And so out of fairness, and also out of the fact that they had said they might exercise their own water rights and pull away from the city, but that's important too. But in my mind, it's really about fairness and making things do their things the right thing. I have made a recommendation to the council to reduce all their water district rates down to industrial and put them on industrial use. The city had changed the port many years ago without going to council, and so the port had already been changed, other districts hadn't. So the council has agreed to that, and last night they approved it a few weeks ago, and then last night they had a resolution. With that, the city does lose a reduction of 14% of our revenue. However, that's way better than having the districts pull away and losing 35% of our revenue. But more importantly, we'll be working together with the city has found an organization through the regional solutions team, which we really appreciate, who will be actually providing a water rate study, no charge, no cost to the city. And we'll be working on that. It should be done in about a year and a half. And then we'll be looking at rates again for everybody, trying to figure out what's fair and what's the best. And then also the last step, we'll be working on entering into interlocal agreements with the districts, because that's really the best way to do business, is to have those agreements in place so we understand clearly what each responsibilities are. So really excited about that. Again, that is about making our community a better place and working together. One of the ripple effects that already was the Port of Tillamook Bay was, because of that action, they were really happy to work with the city in swapping our easements out at the port. And so rather than charging the city for easements, for new easements as we work on our water transmission line, they were actually willing to just switch those. And I think the biggest ripple effect was because of their happiness with the council in improving those water district reductions. So that was wonderful. Our water fund will be sustainable, so we're not concerned about that. So that's just a quick update on that. Also, next thing the council approved was a second reading and adoption to hold an ordinance amending the city's prohibited parking ordinance. So what this is an ordinance slightly adjusting the emergency vehicle portion of our parking ordinance, which is to have emergency vehicles not back into angled parking unless they're, of course, an active law enforcement or active emergency response, whether it be law enforcement or fire, emergency, ambulance, public works, et cetera, et cetera. So the concern we were having is some law enforcement. There were law enforcement agencies throughout the state who would come and would park angled back in parking in front of the courthouse, especially. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous to back in, very dangerous to pull out that way, and that was causing a safety concern, which is the biggest issue. The other issue too was that we had vehicles doing that, and these were not vehicles on emergency status. These are people are going in the court, doing court business and so forth, not people actually on active status. So the other issue too is we had the other residents parking there, and they would get a ticket, and they'd see law enforcement not getting a ticket, and it wasn't a very good perception. So council has approved an ordinance, and we also want to thank all of our partners in law enforcement agencies, county, state. Everyone has been wonderful. Once we brought this to everyone's attention, they already changed everything, and they were doing great and working, and everyone had asked that we tie this up officially, so that's what the city has done. So really appreciate the county and the state. We appreciate everyone being willing to just do their best to make sure that we're not backing in. And again, that is only for those who are not on emergency status. So emergency status is a totally different thing. So it was a pretty short agenda, and that is really all that we had. Oh, excuse me, I am sorry. I also skipped over. I didn't mean to. No, actually, I did talk about that. Sorry. Apologize for that. So in the police department, the past week was spring break for the schools, and the Tillamook Police Department found an increase in traffic and visitors into town. This kept our officers very busy. Accreditation is ongoing and at the forefront of administrative task. Our Executive Assistant Larson, Sergeant Troxel, Lieutenant Halls, Sergeant Halls and Sergeant Harrell have been busy collecting proofs for all the standards. And the police department was invited to the emergency management meeting where there was planning that occurred regarding responding to emergencies when bridges are out or flooding occurs. And we want to thank the Tillamook Public Works Department, who did a great job representing our department, as the police department could not make the meeting. Discussions about this are very important to help us plan for emergencies or disasters. And Code Enforcement Officer Moreland, as I had mentioned, is doing well and learning a lot. He spent the week working with Executive Assistant Larson and learning the ropes. He's already been out. One of his duties is to work with our residents who are experiencing homelessness. He works with property enforcement, code enforcement, everything from parking to everything. So he's got quite a bit he's working on. In the Public Works Department, the Public Works Department is short-staffed this week. However, operations as usual. And I wanted to take the moment just to explain that our Public Works Department is charged with many responsibilities, but the main ones are treating and distributing finished potable water to our city and all 15 districts outside of our city, collecting and treating wastewater, and cleaning, repairing, and maintaining all the city's streets, parks, buildings, and stormwater systems. And those are just the main responsibility. All these services allow for our community residents to continue living, working, and playing each day. A reminder that since 1970, residents have been responsible for maintaining their own private sewer ladder lines and fix them when problems occur. Residents have 365 days, 1 year, with a possible extension available for qualified residents up to an additional 6 months to test and fix their systems if they need repaired. And the ordinance notice violations for failed or broken sewer lateral lines are going out to residents with failed sewer laterals. Again, we're working on this a little bit of time. Our goal is compliance, self-committee. We're not sending out a mass letter to all the city. We're just doing a little bit of time to try to work on it. Additionally, the city would like to encourage and remind citizens of the Service Line Warranties American policy available through HomeServe. This can help provide a low-cost warranty to help when fixing lateral lines, water lines, and even your indoor plumbing if you desire. And you can always contact us or go online to their website to learn more about that. The city's new website's live, and it's been up now for a month. We also thank everyone has any questions or any comments. Please get those back to us, and we'll follow up with you. We have several positions available to Tillamook City, including public works technicians, a public works streets division supervisor, and a part-time urban renewal agency administrator. So please visit City Hall or see us online for an application. Reminder, if you see something, say something by calling 911 for emergencies, dispatch for non-emergencies. And on Saturday, April 13th at 9 a.m., the City Council will hold a council meeting and goal-setting work session, which will be held here at City Hall in the council chambers. And that's a change from what I previously announced. It will be held here Saturday, April 13th at 9 a.m. It will go until 2 p.m., and we will be talking about goal setting and operations of the departments and just where we're going forward with the city. And the next regular council meeting will be held, and that, by the way, is an open meeting. All meetings are open except for executive sessions. The next regular council meeting will be held on Monday, May 6th at 7 p.m., and we encourage anyone interested in your local government to attend virtually or in person. That's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathan. Before I end this meeting, I'd just like to let folks know that Tillamook County Parks is hiring for summer jobs right now. You can get online on our website, go to HR, look for summer jobs. There are fee booth collectors, janitorial, laborer, that's like mowing, weed eating, etc. Courier. Tillamook County Parks needs to hire a bunch of people for a great summer job. So please go to our website, check that out on the HR page. And with that, I want to thank KTIL for broadcasting. Thanks everyone for participating, and thank you Tillamook County for listening. This meeting is adjourned at 9:29 a.m.